But I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. And we're here tonight in the heartland of our nation to celebrate the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country. And that's according to many, many people. This is the best, they say, 100-day start of any president in history, and everyone is saying it. We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in.
The way that he drags the press now with some of the commentary that he gives on this stuff is just absolutely fantastic. You know, you see these polls, and again, they put out these polls right around the 100 days that came off, which showed President Trump's numbers, which were well over 50% for the entirety of the first 100 days that he was in office, right up until a few days before we hit that actual milestone, and show that he's dipping so low in the 40s. The only president that he was polling lower than was himself during his first term, showing that like Joe Biden was at 55% and Obama and George W. Bush were both in the 60s at this stage of their second terms in office. But here's the deal. You start looking at the crosstabs, you start looking at the numbers within the numbers there. It turns out that it's like an 80-20 Democrat respond to Republicans who are usually working when they call for these polls. And then all of the moderate Democrats and independents, which have fueled the positive poll numbers for President Trump over the course of his first 100 days, all of a sudden they're not calling those people anymore because they don't like those answers. I saw just last night on CNN, Van Jones sat down with a panel of 3 African Americans who had never voted Republican but voted Donald Trump in this election. He laid out like a 7-minute laundry list of threats to democracy, end of everything, you're not having health care, this, that, and the other thing, no due process, scooping people up off the street. Then he goes, speed round. If you had the opportunity to do it again, would you? All 3 of them were like, yes, I'd absolutely vote for him again because everything you're saying, I don't see. I see actual results of the things he promised to do. What do you guys think?
Yeah, even if you're in a position where you're being slightly affected by the things that are going on, when you realize that it's for the greater good and it's for the benefit of future generations, you're going to have to just take one for the team sometimes.
Yeah, it's the truth. And you want to know what? Once people stopped believing, and I really think that kind of was on the rise after the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt last July, that Donald Trump wasn't all of these bad things that people in the media had made him out to be, and the Democrat Party has kind of painted him as. And they started like looking into Donald Trump, the person, maybe started watching more rallies post Butler, seeing his triumphant return just a week later at the RNC convention. You know, I really think people bought on to the fact that like, I've actually been lied to. And not only do I feel absolutely horrible about it for being essentially an NPC, but I'm going to use my brain when it comes to not only voting, but deciding on what people are going to legislate for me moving forward. And I think it's made a huge impact on the success of President Trump's first 100 days and is going to make for the success of the entirety of his second term in office.
I don't see Democrats changing their messaging one bit. All they're doing is doubling down on the same gaslighting and fear-mongering, blackpilling, anti-Trump rhetoric that put them in the positions that they're in now and losing positions. No matter what the lie is, and this goes for liberals, it goes for independents that hate Trump, it goes for those Bush and Pence Republicans that hate Trump. They're never going to give him any accolades on the positive things happening in our country, bringing it back to where it needs to be. Greatness, prosperity, free speech. No, it's well, he wants to take away the tax exempt status of a major university, and that's going to cause all kinds of chaos. It's bring the chaos, constitutional crisis. He wants to have old ladies and men starving in the street. He wants to have your kids dumb as rocks. It's all bullshit, and they won't stop. And we could poll as many people as we want. And what you said, Roan, Republicans are busy at work. I get so many calls from whether it's charities or political calls. I don't take any of them because I'm busy and have better things to do. But these Karens who have their anti-Elon Musks on their Tesla are waiting for these phone calls so they can give the pollster on the phone who doesn't give a shit what they really think, give them an earful about how much they hate Donald Trump just so they can get those negative poll numbers that mean nothing anyway, because nobody who voted for Donald Trump is legitimately sitting there today saying they regret it.
No, 100%. And that's actually, the single between the noise there. And you have to understand that we read those poll numbers a couple of weeks ago, which showed the only major demographic of any kind of actual voters that Donald Trump was underwater in was in the boomer category. And that's voters who were plus 70 years old. It was like negative 14. But even that's not too far off from, where you saw all the positive numbers with African Americans, Asians, Latinos, young voters, first-time voters, those who have come over from the Democrat Party, and independents as well. It's kind of when you put that whole narrative together and understand, hopefully, that there's only a few more election cycles that boomers will be able to participate in moving forward, that we're going to see those numbers move even towards more of a conservative fashion for many, many years to come. We had mentioned during this commentary right here, part of the biggest problem, and that's the big bureaucratic bloat that slows everything down. Well, Donald Trump's been doing his best to absolutely eliminate that, and he touched on it at the top of this rally as well. Let's hear it.
In 100 days, we have delivered the most profound change in Washington in nearly 100 years. I read an editorial today that this is the most consequential presidency in history. How about that? And it wasn't even by a group that would normally be supporting us. It was a group of people that I think they tend to be on the liberal side, but they said it's the most important election. The November 5th, it changed it all. You have to see, you hear some of these numbers, but that is the most consequential election that we've ever had in our country. And what a nice thing. I'm going to start again subscribing to that particular paper. Even if I don't read it much, I'm going to subscribe. But it was a very nice compliment, especially from them. They know who I'm talking about. We're ushering out the long reign of special interests and the radical left lunatics, and we're ushering in the golden age of America. That's what we have.
Is there any place or stage where President Trump is better than doing that? Honestly.
No.
I don't know how. I mean, I know for the fact that most politicians are introverts. They look at their constituents as like part of a class system for the most part, where they are a full class or level above them. And, don't have the same clapback mentality and abilities that President Trump has to kind of go off teleprompter and use the art of the weave and absolutely destroy a couple people while doing so. We'll hear some good examples of that throughout the course of this rally. But are you guys surprised that for as much as like central casting is being essentially used to promote new and prominent members of political parties these days, that they are not moving more people to the forefront who can just take a podium in front of an absolutely packed stadium and bring down the house like this guy can on a regular basis? Let's be honest. If President Trump wanted to go on like a weekly rally circuit to talk about his accomplishments for the next 4 years, they would fill up every venue and arena to do so, and it would look much like the campaign season did leading up to this election. Don't you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he would be able to talk longer than Joe Biden did the entire presidency each and every time.
We had a good Joe Biden poll during this rally, and we're going to get to that in just a second. He is talking about the generational changes that are coming with this administration as well. No longer are the people who have stolen money and stolen tax dollars and manipulated the system and slowed down the agenda of the American people are going to be able to do so in such a willing manner anymore.